Flashback.
Okay, here's a look at the next project.
He's driving it, he's driving it!
$1975, 12th month 1975, FJ45 Land Cruiser. She's rough. Kids have smashed out all the gauges. It does have air conditioning, which is amazing for 1975. There is some rust in standard Land Cruiser spots. Yep. In the roof. No tray. Didn't come with a tray. A bit of rust in the chassis rail over there. Rust in the doors. You can buy a patch panel for the bottom of these doors. Rust in the floors. Yeah, it's going to be a big job. It's the venerable 2H petrol engine. Would have preferred a diesel. Worth a little bit more. Battery decided to vomit all over the bonnet at some stage. Hopefully it's not too bad, that fitting. It does have a PTO winch, which I've been told are worth a lot of money. It had been sitting in a paddock for about 10 years. All the tyres were flat, and amazingly the front ones still have pressure in them. We actually got pressure into all the tyres to get it up on the trailer, but the back ones have gone down since. But that's okay, it got us up onto the trailer. This is an unusual colour in that it was a Telecom Australia car. 1975, they'd changed their name. Used to be PMG, Postmaster General, and they changed to Telecom Australia in July 1975. This is the 12th month 75, so that means it probably wasn't in service until 76. Stick to the patina that's on the truck. Fix the rust, of course, but stick to the patina. Get the Telecom Australia logo on the side, airbrushed. Rat rod. 5.7 litre LS motor in there. Auto box. Make it two-wheel drive, I don't know. Keep it looking pretty much as it is. Keep the patina. Maybe still do the Telecom Australia on the side. This one's going to Tasmania with us. It's not going to be a quick restoration, this one. It's going to be a long restoration.
End of flashback. Soon after.
We have a donor vehicle for Boris. 1993 80 series. It is on 35-inch tyres, which are illegal in Australia. Got a massive lift in it as well. What I'm after for Boris is, of course, the chassis underneath. Coil sprung all round. Disc brake front end. And disc brake rear end.
$298 frozen patties later.
Alright, what are we doing, son?
Oh, roped into starting this, obviously. This is exciting.
It is exciting.
Very exciting.
Already bonnet off, front bib, driver's guard, our aim is hopefully to get the cab off today, which really is, once we get that guard off, there's I think 4 bolts for the cab.
They're getting cut. They're getting cut.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And unhook the steering, disconnect some cabling. Probably want to pull out the windscreen and the rear window before we pull the cab off, and maybe the doors, it'll make it a bit easier. But yeah, it's coming apart real quick. New project. Righto, where are we at, Cam? Oh, hang on. Copyright. Where are we at, Cam?
Body is about to come off.
So yeah, it's surprisingly the mounts actually came free pretty easily.
No cutting.
Yeah. All right, take her up.
See your side?
Yep. Oh, just how's?
There's a cable under here.
Is there?
Yep.
Hang on.
Fuel. It's going to pull through the floor anyway, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's just a fuel sender.
Yep. It's a what? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
What, do you come in and get your own? Or
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Is it stable? Let's just give it a... Yeah, no, that's all right. She's alive! We are clear. Woohoo!
Not bad for a morning effort.
Hey, not wrong. Thank you, son.
No worries.
More moments later.
Progress. So, roof's off. Man, that was a job and a half, because every single bolt, apart from about 2, was completely rusted. So we actually had to cut through the top of the between the roof and the back panel with the Sawzall to get through these, because they're all rusted in. And the cab's now just a tub, not even a cab anymore. Floors are pretty bad. This has got to be remade anyway for whatever engine gearbox I end up putting in it, but this is all buggered through here. Surprisingly, and I believe from what I've seen on the internet, the post is where these things rust out, and these are actually really good. There's no rust in there whatsoever. A little bit of rust here. This bottom section, apart from the very bottoms of the cab, is actually in really good condition. Just a little bit of rust there. The back panel is a little bit of a different story though. And this side's even worse. Let's see in there.
I don't think we're going to get to here this morning. That's half a day.
That's half a day to get the cab off, separated from the chassis now, and stripped apart. Windscreen off. Cam pulled out all the glass. All the rubber had it. There's a little bit of surface rust here as well. Oh, well, actually, no, a bit more than surface rust. A bit of repair to do there. But I'm either going to build an extra cab or a dual cab. I think a dual cab might be a little bit beyond my capabilities. So this seam line here, if I add in 250, 300 here, will give me an extra cab. I've got to remake the floor because of the rust. Remake the tunnel because of the change in gearbox, a change in engine gearbox. Remove the under seat tank indentation so that can be a flat floor. The roof is buggered. I don't think I can use anything from the roof. Yeah, not sure about to do. I don't want to use any fiberglass. I want to use steel. So, plus we've had something living. inside the glove box. Hopefully he's not still there.
That wasn't the only place.
Quite possible he is. Because actually that's fairly recent. Anyway. Whew, what a job. Okay, so after all that teardown, what's next? Well, for starters, the chassis. I'd really like to sell the whole thing complete. Probably will try and get the 2F fired up, because I don't think that will take much, even though it's been sitting for such a long time. According to the previous owner, it was rebuilt not very long, only a couple of years before it was parked. And these things are as tough as nails, so I think it'll work. The other thing is that this drivetrain, or this vehicle, came with a factory PDO. And although it's the non-split case, one-piece transfer case, which is not very sought after because I guess they're not very strong, there are still people who are after these things because they're relatively rare. The way this works is it's got an extra lever. This hooks up to the transfer case with the gear set and drives a drivetrain. It's actually nice and easy to show you without a body on, all the way up to the front to a very, very substantial winch with a steel rope cable, of course, because that's what they used back in the 70s. And yeah, it's that's apparently worth a couple of $1,000s by itself, or $1,500 or something or other. So anyway, I'd really like to get this running, hopefully sell it all as one complete unit. If not, happy to sell the gearbox and engine together or separately or whatever, and then just trash the frame, because like I said, the frame has got some cancer, and I'm sure there are guys out there that are capable of fixing this. I have no interest in fixing this. That's why she's going on to an 80 series frame. So really on the cab, I've just got to strip off a few more components, the brakes, heater box, interior stuff, and then this is ready for its next step. And there's a few really good fabricators in Australia now providing parts for these things, and one of those things is a brand new floor. Now their floor, I believe, starts from here, so effectively the firewall, this point back. So I've got a little bit of rust repairs to do here on this part of the floor. This side's not too bad, probably needs a bit of a touch up, and replace the floors. And the best thing about doing that is that the transmission hump, as I'll put a picture on the corner up here, actually has a sort of a generic much larger transmission hump, because when you re-engine these things, of course, they take up a lot more space. Gearboxes, etc., transmissions are much bigger than what they were in the FJ45. And the floor that I've decided on comes from a mob in Melbourne called LCS 4x4, and I'm actually getting it 200mm longer, so the floor will actually push this back wall out by 200mm. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut and extend here by 75mm and extend the doors by 75mm to give it much more, well, because if you move this back by 200mm, the cab looks disproportionate, and so by making the door a bit longer, makes it easier for entry for big blokes like me. By moving the back wall back 200mm, gives me a hell of a lot more leg room, because again, 40 series are not known, or especially 45s, are not known for their leg room. So being able to push that back, there's a nice seam to be able to do that from. But 75mm extra in here, 75mm extra in the doors, means custom glass for the doors, but it's flat glass, so there's no biggie there. And that will give me a look a little bit like this I'm putting up on the screen now. This second one is a much older build. This belongs to a bloke called Lawrence Southard. I hope he doesn't mind me using his photo. But for me, and it's a great build, don't get me wrong, I'm not trashing his build at all. And he built it quite a long time ago, so this was very early in the days of modifying 45s. The proportions look wrong to me. He's added, I think he said 300 mil into this section here, and he used actually a shorty cab, and that's why it's got that extra small window, which he said does make vision great for overtaking or for looking over your shoulder. But for me, the doors look disproportionate, so that's why I want to extend the doors just a bit, and then a little bit of an extension back here, so that'll be 125 mil here, so about that much, and that will give me a stack more space. Picture I've got on the screen at the moment is one of LCS 4x4's builds, and they did exactly that. I think they've got not quite as long in the floor pan, but they got 75 mil in the door, and then they added 50 mil in behind, so 2 inches in behind here, whereas I'm going to go 125 mil, a little bit more. So there you have it. 5 years ago, my wife actually found it in a paddock in the Northern Territory near Katherine, and she said, buy this, and so I did. And so 5 years ago, well, 4 years ago, we moved from Northern Territory to Tassie, and we brought it with us. It has sat under a tarp in the yard since then, nothing done to it whatsoever. I did buy the Donor 80, which I showed you a little bit early. It's also sat there doing nothing. And when my son came across with my daughter and my son's wife and new baby, came across for New Year's, I said to him, "Oh, do you mind giving me a hand just to get out that old 45, and we'll just chuck her in the shed and I'll start work on it." And so we put it in the shed, and he said, "Well, why don't we pull the body off?" And I went, "Really?" And he went, "Yeah, it won't take us long." So sure enough, as he said in the video, it really only took us a day to get it to this point. And that's the power of motivation, of having someone to help me move along. Doing things with two people is much easier, of course, everyone knows that. But it's also, my son's a great motivator for me, and sometimes I procrastinate a little bit, a lot. And sometimes I might, not overwhelmed, but sometimes I'm not sure whether I want to start a project or not. Anyway, I don't know how much of what I'm rambling about I'm going to use in the video. It's probably too much already. So that's where I'm going to leave it now. As you can see, I have sweat dripping down the side of my face. Tasmania is in a heat wave at the moment, and I know a lot of you on the mainland will scoff at our heat wave. We had 33 degrees yesterday, and apparently it's going to be 30 again today. So, and of course I'm not used to it anymore, so I'm wandering around the yard sweating at the moment. Anyway, so that's where we're at. Hope you enjoyed that. There will be an episode 3. How far away, I don't know. I'd really like to get these floors ordered and start tearing down and continuing this project a bit more, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, see you again.